What's up, everybody? This is LibUX, a podcast about design and user experience for libraries and the higher ed web. I'm Michael.
I'm Amanda.
And we've been on hiatus. The summer is about to wind down. This episode, there are no guests, no real topics. It's just me and Amanda taking the opportunity to kind of catch up. And we figured we'd let you in all on this episode in just a few. So this is a perfect opportunity to, since we don't really have a guest right now, to kind of perfect our new soundboard that I'm really quite pleased with. You know, there's kinks to hammer out. There's kind of like the flow, but I'm super amused.
I wish it was a few seconds shorter.
It's already like one of the shortest intros. We could probably chop it down too. In the podcast that's going out this evening as of the time we record, which is with Steve Thomas, it's a real garbage truck on fire scenario, but it's pretty fun. So this is actually the second time we're using this live intro soundboard thing, and already it's way better than the first. So soon, like 10 episodes from now, we'll have it down.
Yeah, I just got to get used to we introducing ourselves and then having the music, and then we go on.
Yeah, and clearly I didn't warn you or anything. I just kind of made it up as I go. But I'm really happy. So the other thing that we're doing is, even though we're definitely recording ourselves individually just as a backup, we are recording live, and not that we've ever had many live listeners when we did do it, but you know, I just kind of figured it'd be fun to bring it back. It also kind of solves this ubiquity question, because we're on like all the different podcatchers, but now that YouTube has YouTube Red, which I guess allows you to basically close the app and listen to, you know, music videos and podcasts or whatever while the phone's in your pocket and the app is closed. I kind of want to have LibUX just there too, and not for any real gain. I don't think we have any followers on our channel, but it's just a ubiquity thing. And if we record live and it's automatically there, then you know, why not?
Well, you know, I haven't listened to my personal music collection in eons because I just listen to everything via YouTube.
Yeah, right. I have Spotify, and it's the same thing. I have this pile of CDs that are in my glove compartment in my car because my car is paid off, and my intention is to drive it into the ground. But I have all these CDs because my car is 2005, so it's post cassette but pre auxiliary input, so it's only CDs. But I never use it because I always have headphones in. But Spotify, yeah. And what's crazy is like the algorithmic Spotify, it's random weekly playlist for you, is really pretty good.
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot, hearing people talking about we're going to get away from actually owning things to just like streaming absolutely everything. And I heard this from a futurist, I think, at Internet Librarian 2011. And, you know, back then everybody thought he was absolutely insane. But I think this whole idea with the music was right on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's certainly true for me. I think that's probably true for movies too.
I'm never going to give up my VHS copy of The Lion King, though.
So I have on VHS. I have the original Star Wars cut, and so I hear they're going to re-release it, or they already have. I think they're going to. They're gonna do the pre-George Lucas edits and re-release them on like Blu-ray or DVD. But I don't trust that they're ever actually going to do it. So I hold on to these tapes. I have nothing to play it on, but I guess I could just rip them. I guess that's what my library is for.
Well, they're copyright protected though.
Yeah, but doesn't it fall under
I'm
well, I guess
not.
if it's not the library's copy, then you're right. I don't know. Are we not allowed to rip our own media to a device just for our own use?
I'm not entirely sure. I know there's the whole thing with accessibility for visually impaired people can have one copy, but I don't know about what is it, the DMCA says about that.
So that's one thing that's really kind of bizarre is that I have been working really closely with our university's copyright officer. His boss is my boss. So even though we're not in the same department or anything, we have this like link, right? So I guess it's been a while since I've worked closely with him, but I set up his copyright blog for the university, and so I've been subscribing to it.
Hmm.
And it's really, man, copyright is really complex and messed up, but it's interesting too because with what I work on, I'm always worrying about book cover copyright and things like that. Um, and I don't know. It's just a really weird thing. So we are getting this Holocaust memorial put into our library. So we have this old binding room that hasn't been used in a long time. So they're going to, I guess, a major donor has this huge Holocaust collection, and he is going to donate it. And so we're going to have a Holocaust room, which is kind of cool. I've been building kind of the website for it, and it's going to do some special things. But he had a request in that he donated along with his collection like all these Hollywood movies like Schindler's List, and what he wants to do is like if you are in that room, you can and you visit this website that I'm building, you can click the Schindler's List cover and it will just play right there.
I'm not sure how I feel about that from a user experience.
Me either. But like the idea is that it'll kind of like just open up, kind of like a light box on your screen, and there you go. You just have to play it. You don't have to go check out our copy or log in or do anything. So I guess our copyright officer, like gave this a thumbs up, like, hey, it's okay as long as they're specifically in that location. But the implementation of that, like you have to rip. And I'm not. It's not just Schindler's List. It's like 21 videos, Hollywood videos that we have to rip, and we have to store them someplace that someone can't find them,
Hmm.
and just leak them out.
Yeah, we used Handbrake to rip some old VHS tapes of library programs from like the 90s, and it's a pain.
Yeah, it is a pain, and I feel really dirty kind of working on this thing. like, but I'm actually pretty happy with some of like the other things I had to make just to make it work. So I've been kind of, I don't know what you call them, like every library website has them. I don't know, a book carousel is basically it's a carousel that you click right or left on it, and it just has like new materials or something.
Yes.
So first we don't have any system that provides that. We don't have anything that feeds us book covers or out of our we don't have anything that feeds us this kind of collection or new material collections out of our ILS. So we do have a subscription to Syndetics, which gives us all of our book and AV covers, but we don't have like a feed for whatever. Now there are a couple of vendor products we have, like Flipster, that gives us a new magazine carousel, but all that I can find, and I trolled library websites. I was just looking for it because I kind of want to make one or implement it because I think I found a workaround. But everything I can find is really not accessible, and it's like really heavy with JavaScript, like really heavy. But mostly it's not accessible because I've been working on all these like accessibility projects, so I'm super aware.
Hmm.
So anyway, long story short, I decided I was going to make a little carousel to have all these movie covers because, like I said, there's 21 movie covers. So rather than have them all kind of like stack on top of each other, they're just going to be in this carousel. But I couldn't find one I liked, and so I started making one, and I'm really pleased with it, more or less. It is what it is. It's a carousel, but it's totally like keyboard accessible and functional. I'm just pretty happy. So there's some light at the end of this.
Nice. I'm looking forward to seeing that because, we just got book carousels on our new website too.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So like since I don't know, since
June
we
1st.
last really talked, yeah, because we kind of went on LibUX hiatus for the entire summer. You and your colleagues launched a new library website and like a new updated version of SOPAC. And I don't think we've ever talked about that on the podcast before, but it's really quite a feat. I mean, you guys got a lot of kudos, and SOPAC is really pretty impressive.
Yeah, John and James did a lot of work on that. I was not privy to that start because I was more on the front end with content and the user experience research part. So I don't know too much, but because I only heard their discussions on the side at our bigger UX meetings.
It's really cool, and I wonder if like they'd be interested in joining us because I'd love to just talk, like spend an episode to talk about SOPAC because I guess not to like spoil this episode that's not been planned yet, but it's really cool. It's I don't even know the lingo. I'm a bad librarian. It's a works level catalog. So if you type in Harry Potter, you're going to get let's say you do Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and you guys in most catalogs, certainly in ours, you have it. You have the movie, you have the play, the script, you have the book, and these all appear as different records.
Yes.
So what you guys have, you just have a single title, and the different media, the ebook, the print book, all of that just consolidated to that UI, and that's really cool. It's super cool.
Yeah, I really like it. I did catch one the other day because I was like, "Where's my book at?" Because I have the entire A Book Apart series, so
Oh
I
yeah.
was making a little book list for that, and I couldn't find one, so I had to ask James, and he's like, "Oh, oops, two of them got merged together because they were written by the same author."
Oh, which one? I'm curious. What are you reading from A Book Apart right now?
Um, I know I have this nice new SVG thing to be looking at, but um, I'm trying to think which. Oh, I was reading the Eric Meyer one recently, which is designing for real life, which has things like. So you think it's really cute and funny for your website to make like kind of a flirty gesture, but for some people that could be like really upsetting.
Interesting. Go tell me more.
It's been a while since I read it, but it was for one of these major companies, and I think it was actually tracking social media. And if somebody had like liked you a lot, or like commented a lot on you about social media, like the messages that this dashboard would give you would be like, "Ooh, how nice!"
Oh
And then
no.
you had somebody going, "Thanks, that was my stalker. I really
Oh
appreciate
no.
this." So that was the
That
last A Book Apart I was reading.
that's super interesting. That gets into that whole, conversational UI topic where, Mailchimp does it with their voice and tone guide. Hey, just something for instead of like an alert that's really stoic, you have such and such notification. It's like it's a human language, right? It's like coming from a friend. Hey, man, you've got a book on hold or whatever. Conversational.
Yeah.
But I can see how, yeah, if you're not careful, if you're you might just offend someone. I was thinking about I'm in one of these Slack channels. I'm in like 10 Slack channels. But there was one where I wrote, "Hey guys, how are you doing?" And where I'm from in Michigan, guys is, we treat it sort of gender neutral. Like, hey guys, it's just how you greet people.
Yeah.
But Slackbot kind of interrupted and is like, hey, don't you mean pals? or what about team? And I was like, oh my gosh, I have never even thought about that. And I'm kind of paranoid that in my conversational microcopy that I've added to various websites, I I wonder if I'm using guys everywhere, like hey guys, is like or I like to say like hey gang, but like I don't again like I don't know like maybe no one gets offended by that, but maybe someone does, and maybe that someone is really loud.
Um, I was very hyper aware of guys when I was younger. 'Cause growing up in the environment where men are treated better than you and your brother is much more awesome and interesting no matter what happens in your life. I was a little bit like, guys, but now I'm just like, I'm old, whatever. But that's my personal thing, because guys is very common there in Western North Carolina.
There was like a funny tweet I'm gonna not do it justice, but it was there were a couple linguists talking back and forth, and they were looking for like a future participle of y'all.
Yes,
This
I
is
saw
clearly
this.
yeah, this is clearly where I'm way out of my element, so I'm sure I just didn't even explain that correctly, but it was something like it was like why if you do that again I'm going to like whip all y'alls or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's common enough. All y'all.
All y'all, but like plural, like yeah, that's what it was. It was like a future plural for y'alls. So I guess like in some cases y'all can be singular. How y'all doing? Yeah, just depending, just in the way that you is singular and you is plural as well. And like I went down this like rabbit hole where I'm like, oh, this is fascinating.
I would use yeah, YA. How you
Wait,
doing?
for multiples?
No, for singular. 'Cause you just said y'all is singular, and I was like, I would not have done that.
There's the one language or linguistic pet peeve I have is when people use ain't in the plural. So they'll say we ain't or even in yeah even you ain't or something like that, and it really bothers me because ain't is a contraction of am not. So so every time I hear we ain't, like I immediately think they're yelling we am not. And I feel obligated to speak up. I'm like, hey, no, no. Ain't is perfectly grammatically correct in a descriptive manner, but only when used with the single possessive.
Well, I'll tell you, in the past year, I've decided to embrace my southernness and allow y'all to slip into some of my work emails. Because I'm just like, screw their very sensitive New England and, sensibilities. I'm just gonna say, how y'all doing?
Do you think that's because you're no longer in the South?
Which part?
Well, I mean, so like, so you are you left, I guess, what Northerners think of the South,
Yeah.
and you are now like effectively in New England. Well, I guess that's what you just said. So you are definitely in Yankee territory now. So you feel like you're reclaiming your
Yeah.
lingo. I felt like I've had to make a conscious effort to reintroduce the word pop into my vocabulary because I've been saying like soda I just to communicate, but now I feel like you know what, screw communication. Pop is a much more like colorful term for that delicious soft drink.
There's totally a chance if you were to say, hey, if we ever meet in person one day and you're like, oh yeah, let me go get a pop, I'd probably be like, why is he getting his father?
Oh wow, I never that like of all the different things that went through my mind right there, I did not think that.
So yeah, linguistics are fun. So kind of pulling this more around towards a little UX thing. When I was writing the content from the website, I was very conscious of trying to be user friendly. So one of the questions on our FAQs is like, I have a fine. What? And my response is, I think I wrote, whoops, we're so sorry to hear that. The library tries to offer these blah, blah, blah. But the part that I like there is I went, whoops, as
I
the very
like that too.
beginning of that.
I use oops a lot. I'm like oops. My favorite. there was a Smashing Magazine article, I think just within the last week, all about microcopy. And so I had this great idea that, hey, if I shared some of mine, like the rest of, kind of like the larger LibUX community would send me screenshots of theirs, and it never happened. But because I had this idea, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna collect a library microcopy, like specifically like cute library microcopy
Mm-hmm.
groups or whatever. But my favorite one is, because a lot of the stuff I do, like once people finally realize it's there, like I have to take it out. But I'm really happy that for the last 3 years, our study room reservation app has basically like emoticons like in all the microcopy, just like smiley face, winky face, And I have like one where it's like just a flat the flat staring face, where it's like lips are just a straight line,
Yeah.
where because you have to acknowledge a disclaimer in certain cases. For instance, like if the room is maybe like a 10 or 12 person room and you're just an individual, you can register it for yourself, but you're going to have to like show up with a group, right? Because the group gets the priority.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's you just have to acknowledge that. And if you click like register or whatever the button says before you acknowledge, it becomes kind of red and just kind of like wide-eyed staring in shock, and reminds you to click the disclaimer. And then as soon as you click the disclaimer, like it becomes green and like happy face. And I'm really pleased with it. I just think it's so super cute. And the other thing that I'm really pleased of, and I keep talking about it, so someone's going to stumble on it, is that in our new NovaCat or our new catalog redesign, if no book cover is found, it's a picture of a cat like hitting a ball of yarn, and it says NovaCat is busy or something like that.
Yeah, didn't you share that in the LibUX Slack, and people were like, cute, but not sure.
Yes. So
I mean, our no cover is our logo.
I think that is really smart. Now, I mean, you may know that we don't have a logo. We have the university inherited logo with our long library name appended to it.
That works. Just put the the university image in.
I think NovaCat is a little bit like more forgiving. If you see the NovaCat and he's just like looking all cute there with his little ball of yarn, you're like, oh, I forgive this system for not working properly.
Yeah, I think it's adorable, but I'm not a administration.
I guess that's the key. So I've been writing a lot of stuff for administration. I'm just going to use that as a segue. So I'm writing this article about the Kano model finally. Like I'm finally writing an article about the Kano model, and I'm so happy. And like my whole point is like my whole selling point is like you use this to convince library administration to do the right thing, because clearly without the Kano model, they'll only do the wrong thing. I love this thing so much. I went back and listened to our podcast on it, and I'm like, oh, what have I done? I was like, oh, that wasn't one of our great ones.
No, I knew that. Yeah, no. So since this is the anything goes random chatty thing, I noticed that since we talk to each other on this podcast and we have interviewed other people, that when I do UX interviews, they're easy peasy for me. I don't get awkward about it, and I have little ways of like prompting a person to kind of like, hey, go on. Don't actually say that, but I'm like, magic of podcasting, you get a little bit more confident about things.
I think that's really true. I always thought that I would be able to work on my ums and stuff, and I don't think that's really been the case, but I really don't have the fear of just asking questions anymore. I was going to tell you, I think one of our most popular podcasts goes all the way back to your interview with Frank Scornia.
Yay!
And because that was, I think, the first time that our schedules conflicted and you had to do it all by yourself, and I think that might have been like before episode 10, so it was within the first batch, and it's really popular, and you're a really good interviewer.
Well, thank you. Uh, I've been interviewing my grandma about the family history too.
Oh, are you recording it?
Oh yeah, my phone.
Have you thought about podcasting it? Not to belabor the podcasting point.
Like podcast.
Yeah, so I was thinking about doing this with my dad. My dad's 70. He in great health, but but I don't get to talk to him as much as I give him a call once a week or whatever. But I kind of thought that he was in Vietnam. He did 2 tours in Vietnam, and I would love to just get him talking and record it. And because of his, the historical nature of, and just he's just an interesting dude. I kind of thought, like you don't you don't have to do what we do. You don't have to pay for podcast hosting. You could, host it somewhere free. And I think there might be like an audience for just kind of smart people who've lived a lot to just talk. I think there's a real audience for that, and I think you may. I don't know. I don't know if your folks
I
would be okay with that, but I think that would be really cool.
wow, actually, I love that. Because I'm always looking for like decent podcast, and there's some history ones, but it's always much more interesting when you have like storytellers.
Well, and that's one of the things I think that especially like public libraries have an opportunity, not to always just backtrack on the library thing, but you can create or open up like a collection that you own to basically an RSS feed. Because yeah, I listen to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History, and there's a couple other ones, but those are so few and far between that yeah, I think that's where I was too. I was just thinking like, oh man, I want more of this, but I don't know what the search term is, or I don't know how to find it. But I just think it would be cool. And plus, there's something sort of immortalizing about it. So we can save the recordings and we can put them away on a giant hard drive and backed up indefinitely. But once it's released to the internet, it's there forever.
Yeah, I mean, pardon me. I've done some transcription work, and I worked a little bit with the Women's Veterans Oral History Project there at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. And yeah, it's just, I mean, I my dream is to be a digital projects coordinator someday, but I definitely understand that the average person isn't going to be going around trolling a university library website looking for cool oral histories. But if it was being like released in more accessible formats and where I want it to be when I want it, might get more use.
So I think it's WNYC, which is I th- I don't know if it's an NPR station. I think it might be, but it may not be. So just forget that. But I know it's WNYC. They have been trying to solve this problem where YouTube and now Facebook, and especially Facebook Live, they are image and video prioritizing. This is the kind of content they prefer to show because it gets the most engagement. It's how they can insert ads, etc. And there's not really a really good way to share audio clips, right? It's not all that
Oh,
engaging. You
yeah.
can link to it. You can SoundCloud does something with like their little audiogram thing, but that's I think just one product. So
I mean,
WNYC. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say you can't upload just audio to YouTube.
Right. So, well, that's exactly what we're doing right now, except for, I guess it's our pulsing faces. So SoundCloud is a proprietary thing, and maybe you don't. And I think again, storage, there's a cost to it. But WNYC just open sourced their audiogram code, and it's not plug and play by all means, but the idea is that on your local computer, you can run a couple of commands, and it will basically create an audiogram, by which I mean basically the visualization of the voice meter. You know what I'm talking about, right?
By the way, is this anything like the thing from like Windows 98 where you'd be listening to your audio and then it'd be like, here's some trippy graphics being generated?
No, no, no. That's cool too. But no, this is like really standard. So like, if you think about, I don't know, I think it's really, I find this really difficult to describe verbally. I think about like horror movies. So like, imagine like a big old black screen in the cinema, and I don't know, there's like a pulse or whatever, and you see the pulse. Like it's just basically a flat white line, almost like
Mhm.
a heartbeat monitor, but it's for your audio. So that's what they're calling an audiogram, and so they're releasing this tool that takes your audio clip or your entire audio file, and it creates a video rendition, just the audiogram, so that without having to, I don't know, open up a tool on your computer yourself and create the video and import the audio, it becomes just a command line, da create audio, or create audiogram, and then you have something that you can share on Facebook or on Twitter or to all these like video, high video prioritizing feeds. So what it ultimately is yeah, it's a video in your news feed, but it starts to play on its own, just as Facebook does and Twitter does now, autoplay. But it's a video of just the audio, so it's just basically like a static image with your audiogram, but it's a way that you can share a clip interactively. Otherwise, when we share like an MP3, hey, here's our latest podcast, blah blah blah. When we share that, it's a link, and someone has to click on it, and it opens up a new window, and I mean, you're going to lose, 75% of the people just by that mere inconvenience. People don't want to leave Facebook. They don't want to leave Twitter to look at your article or listen to your podcast, unless there's a huge perceived value to that. So, but if they could just do it right in their stream, and then there you have a hook there. Yeah. So I've been watching all this, reading all this podcast industry news. There's big money coming into it. We kind of talked about this with Steve Thomas, which by the time this podcast goes live, people will hear. But it's really interesting. It's a really quickly changing landscape, kind of like blogging was, 10 years ago. It's people are experimenting. It's not that easy to just share a clip with your friend. It's just interesting. I don't know.
I mean, that's why I picked up Snapchat, is so I could send little video clips to people. And I was like, mine are mostly, my cats are adorable, but whatever. All right, so we are running out of time here, and I was going to say, I realized that what you were describing was StoryCorps.
Oh, wow. Yeah, exactly.
I was like, that's mind amazing. No one has done. Wait, that sounds familiar. All right. So this episode, we didn't actually talk too much about UX or what we've been doing, but I hope people enjoy just a discussion.
There's a couple of things that people who feel incredibly unsatisfied at this point can go do if they're interested. We have it's pretty experimental, but we have started a LibUX book club, which is on Goodreads, but you can also find out more information anywhere we are, our social media, or in our Slack channel. But we've started a book club, and so in July there were 11 of us, and we read Sprint by Jack Knapp, I think. We're now voting on the book to read in August, and so admittedly the participation has been super low, but I think it's a really good excuse to kind of read this stuff and become better and talk about it. So I'm gonna really be pushing it hard, and I've already got up just today. I got it up from like 11 members to 23 in the book club. So I'm hoping it'll go. So if book clubs are your thing and you want to read one UXy piece, a book, not an article, per month, and hopefully we'll pick good ones. Please join. I think it'll be super fun. I have this idea that we'll spin up like a hangout and we'll actually have a discussion, And of course, there's going to be the forums on Goodreads, and of course the Slack channel, and all of that good stuff. So I think it's a really cool opportunity to geek out with some fellow geeks. So that's kind of what I'm excited about now. Amanda, are you presenting or doing anything in the next?
Yes, I actually put it up yesterday at libux.co/talks. That on.
I forgot about that page.
Aha! Well, I put it back in the menu. Thursday,
you.
August 11th at 12 noon Eastern. I don't know if it's still open for registration, but my colleague Mallory, I don't know how to pronounce.
Lawrence? Was that
No. Mallory Arts, I think. I feel bad.
Oh, you did add it to the menu. Thank you.
We are going to be talking about digital tools for business, and I attended a direct mail class last week, so I have some nice new stuff to add to that.
Not that I expect that you guys asked, because I think I'm the only one who's anal enough to ask, but if you guys are able to or interested in seeking permission to kind of like record your end, it'd be really cool if we could like re-release it a month or so later here as LibUX content.
Yeah, I'll ask.
Come on, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
Yes.
At the end of I too am presenting at the end of August. I'm really trying to see when upcoming classes. Here we go. I think it's like August 24th. But at the end of August, I am teaching a workshop. It's an hour and a half. It is free, but the priority is totally given to members of the Northeast Florida Library Information Network, so Northern Florida first, but everyone else last, totally free. On August 23rd, I'm teaching service design for libraries from map to blueprint, and the practical service blueprint and the journey map are really conducive to kind of like online training, because there's a lot of tools and visuals that you can do without actually having to be, physically present with everyone. So that's going to be a long one. I'm really excited about that. And I would love that, if you guys have nothing to do, or maybe if you do and you guys need an excuse to get out of a meeting or whatever, please sign up for one of our talks, like Amanda's or mine or both, and those that come up, because you know what? Good turnout for this kind of stuff begets more stuff like this. So if you're into the design and user experience, or if you're into content management and strategy, by all means, vote with your presence.
Thanks. All right. Thanks, Michael.
Cool. All right, everybody. That is it. Of course, you can find this and other episodes in your podcatchers of choice. You can always visit us at libux.co. Please like and review. That's how more people discover our presence. And even though you might think that we're super duper niche, it helps. And also, if you've got any soundboard tips, by all means, hit me up, because I am about to play the outro in 3, 2, 1.